You're listening to Thursday Night AMP on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Anybody else have radio stations in your area that are already playing Christmas music?
Yes.
Technically, but I have an XM satellite radio, so it has a Christmas channel.
I don't listen to radio, so don't know.
You know, for several years here in the Lexington area, we've had a radio station which traditionally plays Christmas music, but every year for like the last 3 or 4 years, they move it up a little bit more, they move it up a little bit more. They started airing Christmas music Halloween morning.
Oh, boy.
Dude, I saw Christmas shit in the store before Halloween was even over.
Yeah, I went to Walmart Monday, and yeah, where the Halloween stuff had been the day before, now it's all the Christmas shit.
I saw Christmas decorations and trees out at Target a week before Halloween.
Oh, it's not time yet.
Eat the damn turkey first. I mean, my God, let the poor guy have his day.
Are we all so desperate to get past the election that we're just willing to throw Thanksgiving out the window too, just to make sure we don't have any post-election discussion? We're just going straight to Christmas, straight to Happy New Year, better memories, and enough eggnog, we can just erase everything in our brains.
Well, there is at least one Thanksgiving song I know of, and they play it here on Thanksgiving, Alice's Restaurant, all 17 minutes of it.
Is that really a Thanksgiving song, though?
Yeah, it's about him getting arrested on Thanksgiving for littering.
Yeah, I know the song. Yeah, the song's about the fact that, shitty town sheriff, made him go pick up all the litter because he found one trash bag in a dumping area, but...
Mm-hmm. And it was closed on account of it being Thanksgiving.
I don't really think of that as a Thanksgiving song.
It's tradition. It's a Thanksgiving tradition. Like the Turducken Awards.
Yes.
Is that going to be Thanksgiving week itself, or is that the week before Thanksgiving?
Oh, we might do like Impact and just tape a couple episodes in advance.
Fine by me. There you go. Just have a couple in the can ready to go.
Right.
Yeah, but this year, I think we've got a few really, really, really strong candidates.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be the problem, is just picking one out of all the bullshit that happened this year. There's so much to choose from.
No, I mean there is so much bullshit, but I think there's probably 3 that are far and beyond the issues.
Well, definitely number one with a bullet, in my view, is the decline of TNA.
But it doesn't come to an end.
That's why I said decline. It
never ends.
It just keeps going downhill faster, but it never stops rolling.
Just when you think you've hit rock bottom, somebody manages to punch through a little bit lower. and we're rolling by the way, so.
Oh, we're live?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, this is Thursday Night AMP. I'm Stevie J, and that's producer Killer Kev. You just turned on the mic. We're also joined by the great Sudoku, Jason.
Who are you going to call? The Ghost Cleaner, Kenny Omega.
Yes, indeed. I would rather call him than anybody involved in this TNA and Impact and Anthem and Dixie and Billy debacle. Right, Abby?
Please. Please, anybody. I don't care. I will sit through 47 hours of broken Matt Hardy. I don't care.
Yes. Well,
I will sit through Bobby Roode's theme song.
Now that is saying something, because I know how much you detest that song.
I will sit through it on an endless loop just not to have to deal with TNA.
Well, unfortunately, we do. As you said on Twitter, it's got to get done. We got to talk about it before we can talk about anything else. So these cockroaches that won't die and won't go away just out and out refuse to pay Billy Corgan's loan off. And I don't know why, since they're getting financial assistance from Anthem and yet still can't pay this loan.
Well, according to the cockroaches in question, let's see. Is he the cockroach? I mean, it's Anthem the cockroach, is TNA the cockroach. According to them on Twitter today, they said, we reject Corgan's social media comments today, re-Impact Wrestling. The matter is before courts, and public discourse is inappropriate. There is a solid financial plan for Impact Wrestling, and Mr. Corgan's loan will be dealt with appropriately.
Now, you see, Anthem is the moldy apple that somebody left on the floor, and TNA is the cockroach. That's how that works.
Well, previous to this, I had some respect for Anthem because they're the parent company of Fight Network, but I don't think they realize who they're getting into bed with.
No, I don't think they do either. And earlier today, to preface this little Twitter war that started this afternoon, Anthem and TNA made their new I don't think you can really call it a partnership. They call it a credit relationship, which basically Anthem is the bank and, TNA is the person getting the loan.
Right. Well, actually, Anthem is now the controlling entity of the two. They actually have their own CEO in charge of Impact.
No, they have somebody on the board. Dixie is keeping her chairman of the board of managers or whatever role.
Right. She keeps her seat on the board, but she's not the majority shareholder, so she doesn't get to make the decisions.
No. Roughly, I think what it comes down to is Anthem has 85%, Dixie has 12%, and Aerolux has 3%, as far as stakes in the company go. Although, or at least that was the math last week.
Right. Because they didn't pay Billy Corgan's loan back, though, he is allowed to convert that into 36% equity. Although, as somebody so eloquently put it today, why would he want to do that, considering he wouldn't have control of the company if he did?
He could fuck him up big time, though. He could throw roadblocks out left, right, and center.
But he couldn't vote down anything with only 36%.
No, but he's the one that has got the support of the talent roster.
This is true.
And so that makes up for that percentage he doesn't have.
Right. Just because you mentioned the war of words, I want to get what Billy Corgan had to say in response to Anthem on the record here. He said, and I quote, "Terrible way to start our future relationship. What with the lying through counsel and propensity for press releases claiming victory. So when you sent out the press release and won during the lawsuit, that's not public discourse? Tisk."
And the use of reject in your tweet, such strong language from Network of Fights.
I had my own response to them saying public discourse was not appropriate. I tweeted them and said, "And what do you call tweeting about it? That's public discourse. In the words of Chris Jericho, you stupid idiots."
Yeah. Well, earlier in the day, they, Anthem and Fight Network released the credit relationship information, and Billy came back with, after that was said, he said, "Fact, TNA was supposed to pay me 2 days ago, which they swore to in front of a judge because November 1st was the date of repayment for the loan and the pledge agreement. And they would be in default of the pledge agreement, which was one of the reasons he didn't get that temporary injunctive protection Monday, because TNA technically wasn't in default." He continued to say, yesterday, meaning Tuesday, they asked for a day to get the money together, upon which, yesterday or today, they'd reach out directly to settle all claims. So they lied again and have used the time as a weapon. Fact, I still have not been paid, and I'm exploring all remedies, including new filings with court and converting to 36% equity, right. Which then Fight Network, rejected his claims on Twitter of all places. And, then Billy had to come back and say, basically, you're lying again and you sound stupid. I don't know. I don't know if Anthem is throwing good money after bad. I don't know if Dixie is dumber than a box of rocks or smarter than any of us give her credit for, but I can't see Billy Corgan walking away now. No, I think now it's not so much. Now it's like, okay, I'm ready to fight now. Strictly just for the hell of it.
They've actually made it personal and made it antagonistic and made him openly, outwardly hostile.
Yeah, and that's not smart, especially with the person who your talent roster is behind.
Mm-hmm. Also not smart, considering that even though he didn't get the injunctive relief he wanted from the Nashville Chancery Court, he did get all of those statements entered into the public record for all of us to see that proves TNA is full of shit.
Exactly.
And don't they have more cases pending in that same Chancery Court?
I can't keep track of how many. Go ahead, Abby.
Yeah, they're being sued by their merchandise distributor and
That was the latest.
importer. Yeah, that's the one we reported on yesterday. That's the only one I know that's in Chancery Court.
Well, the rest are just civil lawsuits then.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if they're in Chancery Court or I know one's in Chicago. I think that's the American Express one.
Right.
Or that might be another production company. Then there's the American Express one. Then they got Bischoff's one. You know, it's just, but yeah, they're one of their merchandising designers, distributors, importers has not been paid since September of 2015.
Not good.
And no, and TNA owes them over $43,000 for a total of, I think it was 25 orders. And the irony of all of this is right now TNA is having like a fire sale on their, you know, at Shop TNA where it's, you know, T-shirts for like $4.99. I'm like, well, I guess I got to fucking pay their bill somehow.
Everything must go.
I've been having fun with this because when they posted that video of them clearing out merchandise, I was like, we have loans to pay. Everything must go. I can't resist poking fun at them now.
And it's like somebody threw out there and posted, hey, former TNA guys, come get your shit for your gimmick tables. You know? Load up now.
This is why I'm glad I had chicken tikka masala before we went on the air because I'm in a really good mood about all of this.
I mean, now it's just gotten to the point of being so ridiculous, and it would be hilariously funny if it wasn't for the wrestlers, if it wasn't for the production people, if it wasn't for the folks backstage, that we don't know if they've gotten paid or not.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know. We just don't know. And they all deserve so much better than this shit management team that TNA has.
I agree. I don't want to laugh at their misfortune, but I do have to laugh at TNA being so comically, ridiculously inept at everything. And
the fact that Anthem is dumb enough to keep her, I'm going to be nice, her, you know, even if it's just as a figurehead role, that's just stupid because they're never going to be able to move on. They're never going to be able to rebuild or rebrand or whatever until she's gone.
And as you said, the trust of the locker room, the trust of the people behind the scenes is not with her. So even if she's only there as a figurehead, they don't want her there. They don't trust her anymore.
No, that's like Mike Bennett tweeted out Monday that, you know, well, back to bad business as usual. You know, his wife Maria's leaving. EC3 was making jokes about it, like, maybe tonight for Halloween I'll go, you know, dressed as a judge.
Yeah.
You know, and a couple of the other guys tweeted stuff out, and they're posting pictures with Billy at the Cubs games during the World Series. And, you know, it's like, y'all have just really, really fucked over your roster, and those are the reason that you even have a company.
Incidentally, that's the other reason I'm in a good mood tonight. 108 years of frustration has finally come to an end. Unlike TNA, that frustration just goes on and on.
Yeah, Cubbies win. Woohoo.
Well, if the Cubs can win World Series after 108 years, TNA is going to go out of business at one point or another.
You would think.
Hopefully not 108 years from now. Hopefully next year.
Yeah. It was so funny last night watching wrestling Twitter call a baseball game and call it like they would booking a wrestling match.
Well, that actually goes to something
hilarious.
There's a former member of our podcast team, Big D, who always said that pro sports are a work. He always says that about NFL, NBA, and everything else. So that kind of goes along with it.
It was just so funny to look at some of these tweets. It was like, I wish I'd screenshot some of them or remember who.
That was a nice hope spot by the Cleveland Indians there.
I was about to say 4 outs left in the 8th inning and they tied the game up. If that wasn't the comeback of all comebacks for a booking angle, I don't know what was.
You got to feel kind of bad for that poor kid that got the tattoo.
Do I? Do I really?
Well, no, but you still kind of got to feel a little bit bad for him because it's like, man, what were you thinking, you idiot?
You stupid idiot.
Yes, you stupid idiot. Get your ass on the list.
All I know is I want to have shots of Jägermeister with Dorothy, that 90-plus-year-old grandmother they found sitting in the front row. I want to do a shot with her.
I just, and I didn't even give a shit about the game. I was just, awake and sitting here and, watched the very end of it.
Yeah, I know.
Let's see. Here's
not really your thing. Go ahead.
These are some of the tweets that were coming in last night. This is where the Indians kick out of the finisher just as the announcers are saying the Cubs are world champions.
Thankfully, there was not a dusty finish. Go on.
I am very excited for the "You deserve it" chant to the champions to let them know that, they deserve it.
Funny you should say that because Triple H is sending them a championship belt, so I guess they deserve that too.
This game would have been more exciting if there were fewer rules, if it was no DQ and you get more than 9 fielders. It's time to increase the excitement and have the gray-haired son of the owner run out and take over on the pitching mound. I guess that's in reference to, Shane McMahon.
Back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I probably won't get around to watching the extra innings until Saturday, so if everyone here on Twitter can please refrain from spoilers. Did I just hear that announcer say the Cubs are off the list? Can Chris Jericho please verify this? So, yeah, it was funny to, see wrestling Twitter just go into baseball.
Well, it just makes sense because I was making wrestling jokes to my wife during the game. When they got those 2 runs to tie it up, I looked at the TV and I looked at her and I looked at the TV again and I said, Cleveland Indians, you're on the list.
It was funny just reading the tweets and watching the game. It's like, you can kind of see Shane McMahon running to take over pitching for, when they had, what was it? Was it the Cubs that had 3 pitchers in one inning, or was it 2?
I believe they went from Hendricks to Lester to Chapman in the course of about an inning.
Yeah. It's like, let's have Shane O'Mac come out there and save the day.
Well, we almost needed it because it was Chapman that gave up the 2 runs and nearly blew the whole thing.
I was sitting here like, are you shitting me? Really? Really?
Well, I've been saying that for about 4 games now because when the Cubs got down 3-1, I was like, really? Really? You won 103 games and you can't win the World Series? Come the fuck on.
Yeah, they choked.
Well, they did early.
They came back and won.
Yeah, they had you want to talk about the babyface comeback. This was the babyface of all comebacks because they were about to get swept in Cleveland and had to force Game 6.
They made that hot tag at the last possible second.
They sure as shit did.
So yeah, that's everybody being caught up on the TNA shit. Although I was watching Impact to see if they were going to edit Billy out of anything.
Right, and I strongly suspect that with Anthem being the parent company and already having an adversarial relationship, I feel like he's going to disappear off the programs.
Well, I know he was in some kind of angle. I can't remember if it was this guy in EC3. I can't remember who this guy is. The guy in the dummy shirt.
Oh, fuck. Why can't I think of his name now? You said that, and then I just immediately drew a blank. But yeah, the guy who's dummy, yeah.
Dummy, yeah. We can get his catchphrase, but not his name.
Fuck. I know who it is. God damn.
Eli.
Scroll through Twitter.
Eli
Drake. Yeah, it's
That's
Eli.
Yeah, him. Yeah, but obviously not guy. He wasn't on there tonight, so.
It's going to be like the world title series all over again.
Well, I don't know if I'd call this happier news, but we could segue to the fact that I saw Michael Elgin had orbital surgery on his broken eye socket, and he used a graft of his hip bone to fix it. So I kind of feel like that's what's coming up for Austin Aries after seeing that.
Well, Aries had surgery today, so.
Oh, right you are. Here's a tweet. Pics and post-surgery. Thanks for all the prayers and well wishes.
I'm still not sure which one is which.
What, the before and after? Or
Yeah, the before and after. I can't figure out. I was looking at the pictures and it's like, which one is your before and which one is your after? I'm guessing the one where his eye is actually open
right,
is after.
Yeah, and it looks like there's a little bit more of a bandage on his face in the other one.
Yeah, Manus' eye open.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what they did. It's just funky looking.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a bone graft like it was with Elgin, but what are the odds of those two both being injured in almost the exact same way at around the exact same time?
Well, Ares' orbital socket should never have gotten in the way of Shinsuke's foot.
To this
Although
day, I still
he
think
was on here.
Go ahead.
Huh?
No, I
was saying Ares is on here bitching about hospitals and Jell-O. He wants more bananas. What is it with him and bananas? Anytime you see him on NXT, he's got a damn banana.
He likes his potassium. It keeps him regular. I don't know.
Well, I mean, did we miss something where bananas are now part of his gimmick in NXT? I mean, I know he's a vegan, but still. There's more fruit out there.
Bananas
Eat a kiwi.
Okay. I was just going to make some sort of joke about bananas and phallic symbolism, but you kind of took me off the track with kiwis there, and I don't have a kiwi joke, so I'll just let it go.
Bananas, okay. How you doing?
Yeah, there you go. Bananas, how you doing? So speaking of which, somebody's going to have to tell me if they were on Raw this week, because my DVR decided to be a little shit and not record the show.
I didn't watch it either. I heard it was horrible.
Well, I heard Goldberg had his banana moment, his slip on a banana peel moment.
That's why I'm annoyed that it didn't record it, because they've edited that moment out of all the replays.
Let's see if I didn't watch. I know I recorded it, but it's still on my TiVo.
Well, you're the only one of the three of us then that can actually see this moment.
It's on YouTube.
This magic moment. Oh, the original slip is on YouTube? Somebody saved it?
Yep.
Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, just type into YouTube Goldberg slip. It's by a guy, Edmund Bedford.
Why did they have to feed Rusev to him?
He looks so drunk. Oh my! I mean, he looks drunk when he slips here.
Okay, I've got it now. Oh my God! Yeah, that was terrible.
Oh, that's all I need to see.
And Rusev,
I'm fast forwarding through the recording right now to see if I can find it.
Rusev was trying like hell to sell it, but there was no way to save that.
Yeah, Goldberg
there's no way to save that old man, Paul.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, he tries to DDT him and just slips off.
It's ring rust. I hadn't been in the ring in 12 years. You dumb son of a bitch, you're going to die. Lesnar's just going to kill you. That or you're going to blow out a hip as soon as you get in the ring. I mean...
Well, if he's getting paid enough to do it, then he probably doesn't care if that's what happens.
I don't know. I mean, you would think that he would not want his son to see him get utterly destroyed, literally, by Brock Lesnar.
You might think that, but...
My God, Byron Saxton is in a onesie. A ducky onesie.
Shucky ducky, quack,
I think it's got feet.
Oh, boy.
He is in a ducky onesie footy pajama thing. I'm so
about
glad I did not
it.
watch this. Oh, yes, Enzo and Cass were on here in a dumbass Halloween gimmick match with Anderson and Gallows, where we all thought after Hell in a Cell on Sunday when Anderson and Gallows won, that maybe, just maybe, this was a reset for them. And no, you get Enzo and Cass coming out here dressed as Woody and Andy from Toy Story, and they beat the shit out of these two with pumpkins.
Well, that was actually in a way referencing the promo from the pay-per-view, because Enzo and Big Cass said, from now on, you're not whatever, you're Andy. We're going to call you Andy now.
That was stupid, too.
Mm-hmm. There were two things. Go ahead.
I really want Anderson and Gallows to go back to New Japan. The money cannot be this good. It can't be.
There were two jump the shark moments with me during Hell in a Cell, and one of them was Enzo and Cass going on and on and on and on. But I'm not completely tired of them yet. New Day, I am totally done with at this point. I flat out said everybody that ever complained about 20-minute segments to open Raw during Evolution era, that's a New Day promo.
It's just gotten stale. I mean, their social media lounge thing before the pre-show of Hell in a Cell was just god-awful.
Was that actually supposed to get sympathy on Tom Phillips? Because for the first time ever, I actually felt bad for the guy being heckled by these three. I'm like, this is not a babyface segment. This is how heels act.
No, I hate Tom Phillips, so they can, heckle him all they want to.
It got to be too much to me. It crossed the line from being playful joking to out and out trying to wreck the guy's career.
And they're supposed to be baby faces, and you're mentioning heels, and the way they went over the match with the disqualification is total heel, chicken shit heel tactics, but yet they're the babyface team.
Yeah.
Logic. WWE logic.
Well, that's like Abby always says, quit looking for damn logic, because there ain't any.
No, and I think their big thing is trying to get someone in, this generation of talent to set records so that they don't have to keep going back 25 years to people that nobody really knows.
Well, they just don't like Bill Eadie anymore, and they want to get Demolition's record out of there and crown somebody new just so they don't have to talk about them.
I don't know. That's like, giving it to Nikki Bella so they wouldn't have to talk about AJ Lee.
Well, they are that petty. We've established this.
So, I don't know. It's Vince. Just, stupid Vince.
Well, do we want to talk about any other parts of Hell in a Cell since we're already on the topic?
There were a few things that I had wanted to talk about, just some of the general chicanery that went on with it. Like, when you had Chris Jericho run in, and it's like, really, you're going to have interference in Hell in a Cell? And it just makes Hell in a Cell feel less special when it's not two guys locked in a cell, when there's Chris Jericho there to help out his buddy. And that kind of bugged me, and it kind of bugged me what happened prior to the match with Sasha and Charlotte, with them kind of battling all around before they got in the cage, and then that stupid horseshit of, oh yeah, we're going to give the belt to Charlotte because Sasha is hurt and can't continue. And it's like, the fuck? And then they have a match, and it's everybody saw that coming, and it just, when you've got the gimmick of Hell in a Cell, there really shouldn't be anything aside from the Hell in a Cell being the gimmick that you have.
Well, speaking of stupid streaks that need not be emphasized, they have made Charlotte not losing on pay-per-view a streak. Why that needed to be a thing, I will never know.
Yeah, I also heard they changed the finish at the last moment, that Sasha was supposed to go over, but it was a last-minute Vince thing, along with the last-minute Vince thing to put this match on last, but another last-minute thing, well, yeah, she's in her hometown, so let's screw her over.
Well, it's two different last-minute things to talk about here. The last-minute decision to make the minute of the last match be Charlotte going over changed from Saturday to Sunday, but the last-minute decision of their match going on last was something the creative team had been fighting for all week, and Vince had been, quote-unquote, digging his heels in, saying that it shouldn't. So it may be that Vince relented on making that match go on last, but then decided, well, if it's going to go on last, I'm going to rebook it.
I mean, aside from the shenanigans at the beginning, I liked the match, but the finish kind of left me feeling flat. It's like natural selection out of nowhere, and it's like, that's it? That's your match?
I think it's because there were some real botched up moments in the match.
God, that table spot through the announce table, that was huge time botch.
Yeah, there was a table that broke before it was supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
The table at the end that was supposed to break, but I think they got the tables mixed up.
Yeah.
I honestly do, because they put that table, they pulled it out from under the ring and set it up, and it fell apart. I think that was the table that was supposed to be in the ring that Sasha went through.
Yeah.
Instead of the one she bounced off of twice. According to, Ric Flair, who I'm pretty sure is drunk 98.4% of the time these days, they pulled a couple of moves, some big moves, and they were told specifically, do not go to the top of the cage. So who knows what's true and what's not, but I'm willing to bet that Vince wasn't a very big proponent of this match main eventing.
No. He did claim that one of the spots involved a moonsault, but as you said, Ric Flair is not reliable testimony on anything these days, especially given his debunked claim that he slept with Holly Berry and the public fiasco that ensued from that.
Yeah, I don't trust anything he says anymore. And it's bad because, it's Ric Flair. This guy that had this amazing career and all of this shit, and he's been reduced to whatever the hell it is he is these days.
WWE is good at doing that. Look what they did to Sting. Look what they're doing to Mick Foley.
Well, Flair's doing it to himself. He's got his own podcast. He's got his own shit that he's doing. It's not WWE making him do it.
They help.
No, I mean,
push
this
him
is happening
in
on
that
his
direction.
podcast.
Right. This
And
is
the
on
man,
Yeah, go
the
ahead.
20-something time world champion has now been reduced to a role in WWE that is as a cartoon doing drunken stories from an airport.
Except one thing he did say on a podcast clicked with me because you and I talked about it on this show when he said that whether or not John Cena breaks his record, it's not his real record anyway.
Yeah, but that just, brings us back to the argument of WWE revisionist history.
Yes, it does. And they sure have a lot of it these days.
Yeah, they do. And it's like, it goes back to that whole WWE being in their own bubble and nothing exists outside of them. And if it didn't happen there, it didn't happen at all. And if it didn't happen there, it doesn't matter. And it's, why do we bother to even, try to make sense of what they do?
That's why I can't watch Monday Night War on the WWE Network, because they play so fast and loose with the facts that
that just pisses me off.
Yeah, it's not even watchable at that point because, like you said, it just makes me angry that they're pretending that they weren't actually losing when they were.
Yeah, it's kind of like the PWI 50 that came out today, the list of the top women in the business.
What a shitstorm that created, and coincidentally enough, Charlotte and Sasha Banks were involved in that shitstorm.
Yeah, and it's, somebody called me out on Twitter after I made the comment of why Dana Brooke and Eva Marie are on the list. Well, it's a kayfabe list and they're on TV every week, so this gives, the casuals something to talk about. I get
but
that.
you got Sexy Star
I know
on the
that.
list too, and she sucks.
It's like, I get that. I know that. It's a kayfabe list. I was being snarky. But that doesn't mean I have to agree with it, because it's kind of like PWI is U.S. based only. So if they're going to do it for the women, just put the top women in the United States, because that's basically all they did. You didn't have one Joshi competitor on there, and it was like, yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those, if it doesn't exist in certain areas, it doesn't matter in the wrestling world. So you just kind of sit back and tolerate it for what it is.
It is bothersome when they don't include the Joshi, because they'll happily, in the regular PWI Top 500, they'll count all of the New Japan wrestlers, but why can't they count people from Stardom when they do the women?
Probably because nobody watches.
I wouldn't say nobody, but probably it's a cult
Probably
following.
Nobody at PWI watches.
Well, that I agree with. Nobody there
That's what
watches.
I meant.
Right.
Nobody at PWI watches. So they have no idea who Io is. They just don't, they don't know these things.
Well, they're going to find out soon enough since she's coming over to NXT, so we'll be seeing her soon.
Yes, and, she'll be killing people left, right, and center. And
and it will be glorious.
Don't even go there. Unless you're going to go take TNA out. Don't even start that mess.
Well, let's talk about something I want to take out. The fact there are 3 Hell in a Cell matches on the pay-per-view we were talking about. That's too many, and the Charlotte and Sasha Banks one left me flat. And now I look back on that pay-per-view and I think, sadly enough, it's quite possible Roman Reigns and Rusev was the best of the 3.
It was certainly the cleanest. It was certainly the most orthodox of the 3.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem with Reigns and Rusev. I mean, other than Reigns winning. And then coming on what Raw talk afterwards and going immediately into, I'm going to get back in the title picture. I want to have 2 title belts. Oh, God, no. But the match itself was fine.
Plus, he was pushing that the guy shtick really hard on the Raw talk. Like, that's why I'm the guy. Everybody reacts to me whether they like me or hate me. That makes me the guy. I'm like, you shut up.
No,
and
that makes you
away.
a laughing stock.
Yeah, it makes you annoying when you keep calling yourself the guy all the time. That's not a cool thing to say.
No, and I know that he's getting fed lines and shit like that, but my God, grow a set and stand up and say, listen, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but it's not working. Can we try something different?
Please.
Because they're not going to fire him. They're not going to get rid of him.
No, what's the worst they can do? Not book him? It wouldn't be any worse than the position he's in.
Pop him for another wellness policy violation? Who the hell knows?
If
Put him in a hair versus hair match? Who knows?
But seriously, if he got a 60-day suspension and was gone for a while and we could get over him, then maybe we'd actually like him more when he came back.
as a heel.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to do him as a heel. I mean, it's just not going to happen.
No, talk about Vince being stuck in his ways. He looks at Roman and he just goes, "Oh, that's my baby face right there." Yeah, he kind of grieves himself a little bit.
He gets out the baby oil and the Kleenex.
God, that's a mental fucking image I did not name.
But you're talking about there being three Hell in a Cell matches on the card we just watched. This is actually the fourth Hell in a Cell match this year, counting the one with Brock Lesnar, or not Brock Lesnar, with The Undertaker and Shane McMahon at WrestleMania.
I still need to go back and watch that on the network and compare it to what I saw in person, because y'all said it sucked a dick, and at least there in the building I was entertained by it, but I don't know if that meant it was any good or not.
The whole show sucked a dick.
Oh, again, that's hard to argue.
48 hours of WrestleMania is just too many.
Well, speaking of things being too many, they're going to make Survivor Series 4 or 5 hours now.
It'll be 5+ hours with the pre-show.
Yeah. And they're also adding a new show to the WWE Network on Tuesday nights, 205 Live.
I'm good with that. I think that will help out the cruiserweight some.
It might, but it's also another hour of WWE programming on top of the too many we already watched.
Yes, with 205 Live, it will be 13 hours of WWE, 13 plus hours of WWE programming every week.
Not counting pay-per-view weeks. Then it'll be 17.
No, pay-per-view weeks, it will be 17 or 18, maybe 19 hours of just WWE programming every week.
Mm-hmm.
That is every other week. So you go from 13 hours to 17 hours, 13, 17. It's too much, especially if you watch other promotions, which I know do not exist in WWE land, but in the real world they do.
Mm-hmm. That's why there are weeks that I am perfectly happy to skip Raw, because those 3 hours of my life I can devote to New Japan or something better.
The thing is, I don't have a problem at all with SmackDown. I got no problem with SmackDown. It flows. It tells a story. The matches are good. You have James Ellsworth and his lack of chin. He looks like E.T. You have Talking Smack, which is just entertaining as hell. I have no problem with that 2.5 hour block. None, because normally I'll look at the clock and say, shit, it's 9:30 already. Mm. Where after Raw starts, I'll look at the clock and say, shit, it feels like it's been 3 hours. What time is it? 8:15. You know, and it's like SmackDown just flows so much easier.
Well, you may not have a problem with it, but I know the talent has a problem with 205 Live, because now they're going to be there an extra hour before the taping is over, and none of the people that are working the cameras can go home or get their shit packed up and leave either.
Well, they signed up for it when they started working for McMahon.
That is true, but...
You know, he doesn't sleep, so why the hell should they?
I know, but I do feel some sympathy for those people getting extra hours padded into their day.
Yeah, but I mean, this will be good for the cruiserweights because they're getting shit on Raw, and they're not being portrayed or presented like they should be. Hopefully this 205 Live will provide angles going into Monday nights, will build them up better, and, you know, have them be less random and more, you know, focused and directed and things like that. It's where it's not, you're just putting, you know, 6 guys out there in a random tag match every week.
This is all true. I don't have faith in it turning out as good as we want it to, because it's not being taped as a separate standalone show the way the Cruiserweight Classic was. That had a chance to breathe organically and be its own special thing, but when you're taping this show as part of a SmackDown taping, it's going to creep in. It's going to, the WWE mindset of how things should be, as opposed to the evolution of independent wrestling being presented on a WWE program, will not be there.
So they're doing with this what they did with like Velocity and Heat back in the day, taping it before SmackDown and taping it before Raw.
Well, theoretically it's after SmackDown, but that's why it's going to be really hard on these people, especially if you're one of the hosts of Talking Smack, because you're there for another whole hour now before that even goes live.
It's kind of a double-edged sword because they need to do this, And they need to do it in front of big crowds. They need to do it alongside the main roster. But they need to do it in a way where these guys don't get lost in the shuffle like they have been on Raw.
Well, you mentioned
I think they'll get a better reception. I think they'll get a better reception from the SmackDown audience simply because of how SmackDown is done.
The big crowd is a problem, though, because how many of the people that go to a SmackDown taping on a Tuesday night, especially parents who bring their kids, are going to say, well, we saw the stars. It's getting pretty late. Let's go home. And then half the arena is going to be empty when they tape 205 Live.
I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Like I said, it's a double-edged sword. It's got its good points and its bad points. I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt right now, which I normally will not do with WWE and new shit. But for this, I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt simply because of the talent involved.
If we get to see more Ho-Ho Loon, I'm all for that.
Well, you'll get to see more Akira Tozawa, too, because apparently he's moving to Orlando.
Yes, he is. He's finally done with Dragon Gate. Yes, I think he finished up today.
Yes, and I believe
today was his last show.
I believe he's moving in with Ricochet and Tessa Blanchard.
Mm-hmm. Apollo Crews is moving out and Tozawa is moving in.
Why can't we have that as a reality show? I want to watch that more than Total Bellas.
Oh,
I still want to see Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa in their reality show since they're roommates now.
Yes, Glorious Bombs for everybody. Even though you hate Glorious, I would just watch them do Glorious Bombs all day.
I don't know. Like I said, I think it'll be good for the talent. Hopefully they do it the right way where it just starts to flow better and these guys seem to have more direction and purpose than just be filler on Raw.
I think definitely having Mauro Ranallo there is going to help. Corey Graves
and
is
Corey
going to help
Graves.
too. You've got the right commentary team in there for the show.
Right. The only way it could be better would be if Daniel Bryan was there, but I think that would be even more heartbreaking than filming the Cruiserweight Classic was, because you could tell he wanted to be in there so bad.
Well, he's going to be there he'll be at all the tapings, but
True.
He won't be a part of it.
Right, at least he's not calling the action, which I think gave him the itch as much as anything.
Yeah, now I can be backstage actually giving Spanky a hand job.
Oh. Another mental image we did not need on this show.
God.
Jason's out there in left field tonight. He must be playing for the Indians. He's out there fielding them left.
They're just, they're dropping those fly balls out of left field here tonight.
Yes. Oh,
so we covered TNA, we covered Hell in a Cell, hit the high notes of Raw and SmackDown.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I did want to ask you about James Ellsworth. Is he going heel? Because I'm kind of getting that vibe right now.
I don't think so. I mean, the end of SmackDown this week, we saw him, despite Daniel Bryan and Dean Ambrose saying, keep your chinless ass away from the ring. He came out there and redeemed himself in the eyes of Dean Ambrose and the fans and helped Ambrose win, and then got drug out by security. So I don't know what they're doing, but they've got to do something with this guy because he is so over with everybody. But I can't see him turning heel because I don't know what purpose it would serve anybody.
It wouldn't serve a purpose to me, but when you're defying the babyface authority and running out there to interfere, even if you're running out there to interfere to help, it doesn't exactly look like you're playing by the rules like a babyface is supposed to.
No, but he's not your typical babyface either.
Mm-hmm.
He's been begging on Twitter all week, please forgive me, I'm so sorry. Almost crying all week long, and then I'll get on SmackDown and do the same thing.
Oh, thank you for reminding me of something I forgot to bitch about before now. This Brian Kendrick, TJ Perkins debacle. I know you don't like TJ Perkins. You've never liked him. You don't care for him one bit. But how sad is it that Brian Kendrick begs and cries and pleads, I need this win. It's not enough to try. You have to do the job for me. And then TJ actually fucking loses to him, and he goes on the show afterwards and acts all cocky about it, like, I played him like a fiddle. Fuck you.
He did play him like a fiddle.
But how bad does that make the entire Cruiserweight division look?
It makes TJ Perkins look as dumb as WWE is presenting him to be.
I do not
And
need
it
the
makes
first...
Brian Kendrick look like the wily, sneaky veteran that he is.
I do not need the inaugural champion of the Cruiserweight division to be a complete fucking dumb shit.
Well, unfortunately,
He
they
has been
chose a complete fucking dumb shit as their
Thank
inaugural
you.
Cruiserweight champion.
They had very little to choose from because they had to choose somebody that would A, be cheered, B, would sign a long-term contract, C, sign a short-term contract, and D, sign any kind of contract. So it's not like they had a lot of people to choose from.
I get that. I just...
And
the whole thing rubbed me the wrong way. Go on.
The gimmick he's got is fucking ridiculous. It might have worked 10 years ago, and I think it did work 10 years ago for some guy, and I can't remember who it was. Oh, yeah, Kenny Omega. But it's not working for Perkins. It's just, it's stupid.
Well, it's just equally as stupid to me. Go ahead.
Every time I see him, I expect him to come out to the ring to the damn Super Mario Brothers music. You know, the Nintendo music from when the game first came out. That's the one. Yeah, now we're all going to have that stuck in our heads for like a week.
Abby, I have that in my head every day. That's not just a week. That's not life.
His whole gimmick is ridiculous. The fans were not connecting with him. They were silent when he came out there. It makes sense to have someone with actually a little bit of charisma hold the belt, because you look at the cruiserweights they have, you're going to have guys like Cedric Alexander. You're going to have guys like Dorada who's coming in. You're going to have guys like Rich Swann. Tozawa. These are going to be faces. You know, they need a heel to chase, and they need a heel that can work the WWE style to chase. And Brian Kendrick is perfect for that.
I take all of what you're saying at face value and agree with it in principle, but the way that they got to this point is so backward and so asinine, and the fallout from it with Booker T trying to start shit on the Raw Talk show and tell Brian Kendrick that he's too old and he's lost his step and he's not as good as he was or what he thinks he is, and them having this very forced fight between each other that was so scripted and lame.
Yeah, Raw Talk is never going to be talking smack. It's just not.
It was painfully obvious watching Booker T and Undertaker go back. I mean, pardon me, I've got Undertaker on the brain all of a sudden. Booker T and Kendrick go back and forth.
You know, but we're sitting here, you're sitting there trying to come up with logic in this, and didn't you just say, what? We do not look for logic in what WWE does. We just don't.
I suppose that's my own fault, yes.
Your head will explode, brain cells will die, you know, you'll wind up in the fetal position on the floor just rocking back and forth. You know, you'll drive yourself nuts. Just don't try to look for logic because it's not there.
Just be happy that TJ isn't the champion anymore.
Except I never hated TJ as the champion the way you guys did.
I didn't hate him. It was just, it's kind of like, you know, Tangaloa. He's just kind of there taking up space. I don't remember him in matches. You know, I don't remember him in matches. I remember his opponent. I remember what his opponent does, but Perkins just, he's not memorable.
Well, speaking of the Gorillas of Destiny, maybe that's a good way to transition over to talking about New Japan, but I think we have to call Jordan for Jordan's Corner first.
Do we know if he's even going to be around?
Allegedly he was. I believe Kevin said that he was available and ready for us to call.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Pretty good, Jordan. It's time for Jordan's Corner right here on Thursday Night AMP with the one and only Jordan J. Garber, the man about town in all things podcasting, voice of Wrestling Network. You're getting out there with more interviews, more shows. Tell us all about it, Jordan.
I'm getting out there every week, you know. I'm really grateful. Like I say this on every week. I do some interviews. I'm grateful to just have all these opportunities that are presented to me. I remember I first started out, and I never thought I'd kind of get this far, so I feel really humbled. And I thank people like you guys for giving me opportunities to be on every Thursday night and speak my mind. So it's great to be here once again.
Well, speaking of speaking your mind, give us your thoughts on Hell in a Cell.
You know, I currently haven't watched too much of the the countdown to Hell in a Cell. I've really been busy with everything, but you guys let me switch it in my roles. Like, what do you guys think of Hell in a Cell? Because I haven't been watching much wrestling lately. I've been involved in the business. I've been involved with doing shows and everything, but I do not know much about what's coming up with Hell in a Cell. However, that is going to change. I'm going to watch the pay-per-view. I will discuss it next Thursday. But for this Thursday, you guys tell me, what do you guys think? What's the match that you guys are most looking forward to?
Well, that would be past tense looked forward to. I probably
obviously Goldberg. Yeah.
Well, that would be Survivor Series, not Hell in a Cell.
But you meant the results of Hell in a Cell. I'm so sorry. My brain is all twisted. You know what? Like I said, I haven't watched much of it. I heard of the highlights. They're not all coming to my head right now. But what did you guys think of the pay-per-view? That way I have an idea in a nutshell, so when I'm on another podcast, I can discuss it.
Well, I won't go too much into details since we already ran it down before we called you, but I thought the Sasha Banks-Charlotte match was disappointing. Wanted more, didn't get it. It had a bad start. It had a bad finish. Charlotte having a winning streak on pay-per-view is a dumb idea to me, and I already ranted about that.
Yes, indeed. I want to kind of cap up on that. Sasha Banks, I did see an article online that many components of that Hell in a Cell structure were eliminated because they didn't want Sasha to get hurt in the ring, because they knew that... I just kind of feel like Sasha, she shouldn't be in those type of matches. I think for women's wrestling matches, there shouldn't be Hell in a Cell cage matches because Sasha's a great talent. I don't think she's ready to even be in those types of matches yet. Give her a few years to develop. She's already developed. She's won the title. But then in a few years, once she gets stronger and stronger, then she can be in a Hell in a Cell match. I just think it was wrong timing. Do you guys agree?
I don't know if it was the wrong time for the match. I just think it was the wrong booking of the match. Go ahead, Abby.
Why shouldn't the women be in Hell in a Cell? Sasha is like the best woman on the roster all around. She is
the best woman on the roster,
Charlotte
without a doubt.
Ways, but what else does she need to develop?
Exactly. You know what, Abby? You bring in a good point. You bring in a great point. And
the only thing they've been saying about her is put on some weight. Put on some muscle mass so you don't look so tiny and get broken in half. But she's not a big boned creature. She's not going to put on all this muscle so that she's got some padding so that something doesn't get tweaked or sprained or hurt.
Exactly.
So I don't know what else they expect her to do.
Exactly. You know what? Maybe I said the wrong word. Development's not the right time thing. Just let her adjust to what she's doing best, and that's having those singles matches and winning the show, being the show. Sasha is literally, right now, if we currently look at the women's wrestling product, hands down, I'm going to have to say she's one of the best women's wrestlers on the planet, aside Maria Kanellis, not just because she's a personal friend of mine in the business, but just because she's about to quit wrestling soon. So Sasha is definitely the future, and she's going to continue to be the future.
I don't see why, I can see them not wanting them on top of the structure and having Charlotte do a moonsault off of it. I mean, that's stupid for anybody to do. Man, woman,
Indeed.
Alien, bird, whatever. That's just not something you do.
Exactly.
But,
exactly.
The women can get in there and have a cage match. It's not like they were breaking out the chains and the fire extinguishers like the guys were doing.
For sure. And I'm not going to disagree with you at all, Abby. As for the rest of the pay-per-view, I caught some of the highlights, but I just took a glimpse of it. So I don't have a right to give my review on the pay-per-view. However, I will be looking up Survivor Series. I will be having more reports. I know that I'm getting my name out there. However, I'm going to focus on my consistency and continue to give you guys more previews. That way, everyone knows my perspective of these upcoming pay-per-views. And, that's my take on Hell in a Cell. On Survivor Series now, Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, your guys' thoughts in a roundtable.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be what everybody expects it to be, but even if it's a complete train wreck, I look forward to it because I haven't seen Goldberg inside the ring other than on Raw this week and his appearance a couple of weeks ago in over a decade. So whatever kind of match he can give us, good, bad, or indifferent, I'll still want to see it.
Exactly.
Goldberg hadn't been in the ring in a dozen years. Mm-hmm. That's the problem.
Well, hopefully he's over the ring rust
going
now that
against,
he's had his little slip on Raw. Go ahead, Jordan.
Well, the thing is we all know wrestling is fixed and everything, but you know what? We all know that Lesnar is kind of a little stiff in the ring, kind of intimidating. Even if it was a wrestling match or whatever, I wouldn't want to stand across the ring from fucking Brock Lesnar. That's extremely, extremely intimidating. And for someone, Goldberg, who hasn't wrestled in a dozen years, it might be a challenge because Brock's conditioning is on point. He's in the best shape of his life. So, hopefully, I just don't want to see Goldberg get hurt by it. You know what I mean? To see Goldberg hurt would suck because then he has an acting career ahead of him. He should only be doing these appearances once in a while, which he's been doing. So hopefully it stays that way.
Jason, your thoughts since we're going roundtable on it?
Yeah, I'll touch on what Jordan had said, and he was talking about the conditioning of Brock Lesnar. It's not like Goldberg has been sitting around on the couch eating potato chips for the last 12 years. He's pretty involved with martial arts. I think he can hold his own. Granted, he will have some ring rust. He hasn't worked, a wrestling match in 12 years. He's been doing martial arts. He's been, bodybuilding, hitting the weights, doing what he does. I don't think it's going to be quite the train wreck that their last match was, but I don't think it's going to be very good.
As long as nobody breaks a hip or anything.
Or slips on a banana peel again.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think that about does it for Jordan's Corner this week. Jordan, anything you want to plug before you go tonight?
Yes, indeed. Stay followed with me on my social media, Twitter at Jordan J. Garber, Facebook, like the page Jordan J. Garber, Instagram as well, Jordan J. Garber. I'm getting some trading cards in soon. That's going to be sold at merch tables at local shows. However, if you have me on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat, one of those four, you can buy them online. They're $2 each. They're going to be numbered, limited edition. They're actually made by Topps as well. So these aren't like pieces of paper I'm flying around looking like a jobber. These are actually legit, highly licensed trading cards. So not licensed, but highly produced trading cards. So check it out. Get an authentic Jordan Garber trading card. 8x10s are coming in soon, as well as shirts. Stay tuned on that on my Twitter at Jordan J. Garber. Sorry I couldn't contribute that much today on this episode, but I guarantee y'all I'll be back next week giving you more insight from the words of Jordan Garber.
All right, we look forward to that next week, Jordan. Until then, take care, and we'll see you in 7 days.
Thank you, guys. Great being on again tonight.
Always a pleasure, Jordan. Take care.
All right. Good night, guys.
Night. And now we move on to New Japan's Road to Power Struggle. Jason, you can take the lead.
Yeah. We'll talk about the show that happened the day before Halloween, and pretty much from beginning to end, this was a good show. I definitely want to focus on the beginning with Teruaki Kanamitsu versus Hirai Kawato. Two of the young boys opening the card up, one-on-one singles match, and boy was this ever just a back-to-basics technical showcase put on by two of the Black Trunks Brigade there. Heavy emphasis on drop kicks, heavy emphasis on Boston Crabs. Each man put the other in the Boston Crab. It was Kanamitsu who ended up winning the match. But definitely don't sleep on that match. Don't skip over that one. You can skip the next match because it's fucking Bone Soldier. But don't sleep on Kanamitsu versus Kawato because that match was fantastic. The two young boys really showed what they're capable of. I expect good things from them in the future. Did you see that match, Abby?
No, I fast-forwarded through it.
Yeah, it was good. Did you fast-forward through Bone Soldier?
I slept through Road to Power Struggle.
Okay.
And I caught up on it Monday afternoon.
Okay. Well, the next match was Bone Soldier, and that's really all you need to know. It's fucking Bone Soldier.
Come on, be nice to Boner.
He low-blowed
He can't help that he's horrible.
Got himself DQ'd, and I heard he lost today. Damn it. If only he could have won, Yoshitatsu would have become the new Captain New Japan, but
yeah, that was
Bone
last
Soldier,
night's match.
You blew it. You choked. What are you doing, buddy? If anybody deserves to be Captain New Japan, it is Yoshitatsu, but that's not in the cards. So yeah, we had a DQ. The next match we had a 8-man tag match with Tiger Mask, Jushin Liger, Satoshi Kojima, and Hiroshi Tenzan taking on Titan, Angel de Oro, Manabu Nakanishi, and Yuji Nagata. And holy shit, Tiger Mask actually showed up to wrestle in this one, and he ended up picking up the win with the Tiger Suplex pin, which was followed up by an avalanche butterfly suplex that he did. And I don't know what was going on at the beginning of the match with Liger, but Liger was doing this weird taunt to Nakanishi, doing this like Frankenstein arms out zombie walk thing. That was just bizarre.
Well, now you have to go back to the G1 Climax tournament when they were doing all the random tag matches. And Liger kept making fun of Nakanishi for not exiting the ring the way Liger does. Kept trying to egg him on, come on, do it. So I think that's where that's stemming from is, okay, old man, you can't move like I can.
So he's not impressed with the Lucha Nakanishi we've seen lately, and he wants him to be even more of a Lucha Nakanishi.
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
That was just so bizarre to see Liger do this Frankenstein taunt at Nakanishi just out of nowhere. Like, what is that all? Thank you for explaining that to me, because that kind of had me scratching my head.
Yeah, it's like, old man, you can't move, you can't do anything. Watch me. And I think actually Nakanishi is younger than Liger.
Huh. They both
I'm gonna have to look that up, but I think, I know Liger's 51, if I'm not mistaken. Liger is in his early 50s, and Nakanishi is, I hate this phone with its screen all cracked because I can't do it. He's 49, so yeah, Nakanishi is younger than Liger. So.
And Liger's mocking him for being old, but Liger's even older.
Liger's even older, but you wouldn't be able to, you can't tell he's 51.
No, especially not with the bodysuit and the mask. You really can't tell. He goes at it, and he still shows up to work. And yeah, usually Tiger Mask is kind of the weak link of the team, but not this time. I was surprised to see Tiger Mask featured as prominently as he was, and picking up the win, no less.
Well, sometimes he shows up.
This was the one time of 2016 that he showed up to wrestle. Unfortunately,
he's not going to let no luchadors show him up.
No, yeah, the Mexicans. He's not going to let Titan and El Dejoro show. He's going to say, I'm in this to win this. I'm just as good as you guys. And he's still got it. Unfortunately, in the next match, we had Man Bun, and Man Bun came out with half of his face painted black and orange. And
yeah, I didn't need to see that.
It's like, what, are you a Cleveland Browns fan now or something?
I guess he was trying to blend in with Tama Tonga and Tangaloa and whoever else was out there.
Why? Yeah, Tongaroa, the TJ Perkins of New Japan. I like that analogy. But yeah, so we had Chase Owens, Tongaroa, and Tama Tonga taking on Hiroki Goto, Tacos, Yoshihashi, and Tomohiro Ishii.
I'm so glad that it's going to be Tacos and Ishii going after the tag titles and not Ishii and Goto. I like
the more clash of styles, to coin a phrase, the odd couple pairing there, the smaller, quicker Yoshihashi, and then just the tree trunk of Tomohiro Ishii. Mm-hmm. Who we had nailing Owens with a brain buster and picking up the win. So it was good to see Ishii murder Owens.
It's always fun to see Ishii murder anybody.
Especially when it's a Man Bun with black and orange paint on his face.
He looks so stupid. I mean, he looks stupid enough anyway. But you add half a face of paint, it just makes it worse.
Oh my goodness, it was bad. The whole thing was bad. Ugh. But then we'll move on to probably my favorite spot of the night, where you had Kenny Omega and Matt Jackson coming out behind Nick Jackson, who was dressed as a ghost. So we had Ghostbuster Omega and Ghostbuster Matt chasing Ghost Nick, and it was wonderful.
Those three are just so much fun.
They had the Ghostbusters jumpsuit on, they had proton packs, and yeah, Nick Jackson was in a ghost robe and ghost mask and had chains, and this is what it's all about.
Wrestling is stupid sometimes, and sometimes when it's stupid for the sake of being stupid. That's when it's fun.
Well, this was stupid with a purpose. This was we're going to have fun because it's Halloween. It wasn't, stupid for no reason. It was stupid with a purpose, and that purpose was served very well.
Yeah, but when wrestling is supposed to be, serious, but it turns out stupid, that's when you're sitting there scratching your head. But when it's stupid just for fun, and that's when it works.
And it was fun to see them in the Halloween spirit. It was fun to see them kind of fighting to get those jumpsuits off, which was a little harder to get off than they. Yeah,
Kenny had a little bit of a time.
Yeah, he had some trouble getting out of there, but they still hit their spots. There was that triple team dive after the Terminator cadence that the Elite hit, the Suicidas. It was good
have you
match.
seen some of the guys from New Japan, their Halloween picture post on the bullet train in Tokyo?
I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, check out Ricochet's Instagram and Trent's Instagram. You'll get to see Trent and Will Ospreay, Ricochet, and Juice. It's kind of funny.
I have to see what
Trent
they dressed
especially.
up as. But yeah, another thing that they really had fun with in this match was they tried to rip off Gato's beard.
I know, it was so great.
They grabbed him by the beard.
I loved
They were
it.
yanking and tugging and pulling it, and I wish they had
Dropping
succeeded,
knees
but
on it. It was just, it was gorgeous.
This was just a fun match all around, a fun, silly match, and not your usually suck it. It wasn't overly suck it, like you can sometimes get from the Young Bucks. It wasn't that. No, yeah,
It was a fun match.
We had Omega finishing Ospreay off with One Wing Angel and picking up the win for the Elite. And then, the way that they dressed and just them going after Gato's beard, they deserved that win.
Yes, anybody that goes after Gato's beard, I instantly love.
It was wonderful. If you're going to watch one match from this entire show, that is the match to watch. Next, we had Los Ingobernables de Japan, Bushi, Evil, Sonata, and Tetsuya Naito taking on Togi Makabe, Tomoaki Hanma, Katsuyori Shibata, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. And I was kind of hoping Shibata would turn on his teammates and murder them all, because I could care less about the other three.
It bothered me, this match bothered me for one specific reason, and that was because I had nothing to bitch about with Tanahashi's hair.
Yeah, he came out with no ponytail, no braids.
No feathered bullshit, just nice, shiny, straight, healthy-looking hair.
He was not on
sorely
his game.
Disappointed. I was very disappointed, and, let everybody know on Twitter, and got some very nice responses. It did look awful good, didn't it? It pisses me off because I got nothing to make fun of.
You always talk about how Okada slacks it when he's not at the big Tokyo Dome shows, and my theory is that Tana is just slacking on these Road 2 shows. He's like, that's a Road 2 show. I'm not going to do my hair up in braids. I'm not going to do the ponytail.
But it looked good. That was just it. His hair looked good. It was just shiny and straight and looked very healthy and very clean and very nice. I thought, well, damn it, I can't say anything bad about it today.
No stupid Tana's stupid hair.
I felt very bereft that I could not make fun of his damn hair.
Yeah, no stupid braids or extensions or white shit in his hair or ponytails off to one side and up too high. It was bizarro world for Tanahashi. It really was.
He had a very good hair day.
I was complaining about that live on Twitter, like, what are you doing? And yeah, thankfully Hanma got to eat some octopus ink. That was pretty cool.
The only good thing about Hanma is his reaction to getting misted by Bushi. I never fail to giggle when that happens because it is just so hilarious.
Oh, yeah, and Hanma is having this really irritating habit lately of hitting his first Kokeshi of the match.
Yeah, that's wrong. He's supposed to miss 2, hit the 3rd.
Yeah,
it's tradition.
Maybe they are worried about him and his concussions, but yeah, Hanma got to eat some octopus ink and took Destino from Naito, and Los Ingobernables get the win as well as they should. And after the match, it's just fun to watch Hanma just squirm around with octopus ink all over his face.
Basically pitching a hissy fit.
Pretty much, but it's Hanma. It's like the only thing funnier was when Gato pitched his hissy fit.
Well, Gato is the master of, pitching hissy fits.
I mean, that was a thing of beauty.
You can almost hear him crying like a little girl.
It's like I should get that GIF and just put that as my desktop wallpaper on my laptop.
Mm-hmm.
Pitching that hissy fit. That would be perfect. Yay! Next up we have Dancing Fuego and Ryosuke Taguchi taking on Roppongi Vice. And New Japan is still doing this angle where they're teasing that Roppongi Vice is heading for a breakup. There's dissension in the ranks.
They seem to make up during this match.
They do that during most of their matches on these Road to Destruction shows with the jumping high five from Romero at the end. Where it's kind of like, in the end, they get back together, but it's kind of like the same story each match, where it's like Beretta just looks like he's so sick of Romero's shit, and even Rocky in this one just flipped off Beretta. It was just like, fuck you. and refused to tag him. I mean, there was some heat between the two of them in this match.
Well, Trent always looks like he is just fed up with life, period.
But even for Trent Beretta, he looked like he was fed up with Romero's shit. He does a good job of just showing utter disdain for Rocky Romero's antics, which I just absolutely adore. Rocky
Romero you can't help but love Rocky.
He's another one of those guys that, like Kenny Omega, who just makes it so much fun to watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's like Liger is wrestling till he's 51. I hope Rocky Romero is wrestling in New Japan until he's 61.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, we had Taguchi mocking Romero with the forever stupid ass butt things that he does. I was like, oh, really?
Poor Taguchi.
Yeah. They ought to bring in Fuego and have them be a tag team.
They're soulmates. I'm telling you, they're soulmates.
I mean, it's sad that they ended up losing this match because they are such a good team. They are the perfect oddball goofball team. But yeah, I mean, this was a lot of Romero taking some punishment and then Beretta just getting in there and killing everybody.
Well, that's how it should be.
Yeah, Beretta carried a lot of this match. Match ended with a double team dude buster, and yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it should go. Is like Rocky's kind of there for the comedy spots, but when Beretta is in there, kind of like Tiger Mask, it's not every day that Beretta shows up, but boy did he show up in this one.
And that was one of the junior tag league or super junior tag league matches.
That was the semi-main event because the other junior tag league match, we had David Finlay and Ricochet versus ACH and the Midget. I mean, Taiji Ishimori.
I wonder how that's going to all work out now. Because that's one thing we haven't talked about tonight is the sale of Noah. Yeah,
we haven't got there yet, but we did have Prince Puma and Prince Leopard Panties go down to defeat to ACH and the little guy in this one. With simultaneous 450 splashes, which looked pretty impressive.
Yeah, you have to wonder if Ishimori and ACH were on track to win this. Is that still going to be the case?
Yeah, the one thing I don't get is after the match, ACH was saying that they're Yankees and ACH is from, like, Texas or something.
Yeah. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, that whole post-match press conference that ACH did, it was just bizarre.
But yeah, in the Super Junior Tag Tournament, the finals are Beretta and Rocky, you know, the arguing parents who, you know, us kids really need y'all to stay together. And the Noah team. So it's kind of like, okay, are you going to have the bickering twosome win or are you going to have the Noah team win, considering the current circumstances?
Yeah, I think at this point you have to have Roppongi Vice go over because you don't have a working relationship with Pro Wrestling Noah anymore.
Well, you don't have the same relationship you had before. You've got a questionable relationship with Noah now.
Questionable at best. Yeah, there's some interesting things that come into play, but Noah is no longer owned by Bushiroad that owns New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Well, Bushiroad didn't own it. They had a stake in it, and they were funding part of it and providing New Japan contracted talent, and Jado is the booker. So
they were the fight network, so to speak.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. And now Noah, Pro Wrestling Noah, has been sold to an IT company, and a Japanese IT company, which I don't really know what the hell an IT company is doing buying a wrestling promotion other than the guy who's going to be running it is the former president of All Japan.
One thing that would definitely benefit Noah from an IT company perspective would be a streaming service.
Yeah, that would help.
Having
even
a bigger
better
digital
is if
presence.
they could get, more than 300 people at a show.
That would help too, and hopefully, I'm kind of hoping that by distancing themselves from New Japan Pro Wrestling, especially with Marufuji stepping in and being one of the guys kind of securing this new ownership, is that they will take Pro Wrestling Noah in a direction that is wholly and vastly different from New Japan and draw bigger crowds because they are offering a product that is different.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff up in the air right now. It's like Marufuji was a vice president in Noah for, the last 8 or 9 years. And now he doesn't appear as part of management anymore. So I'm not really sure what his position is Although from his tweets and everything that he's done on social media this week, it looks like he's going to be in charge of the talent end of reforming and revamping NOAA. But also he's made noise about wanting to leave the company. So I'm not really sure.
He's I can see both sides of that, of him wanting to leave and wanting to be in a more high profile place in New Japan. At the same time, on the other side of that coin, I can see him wanting to kind of take the lead over at NOAA and lead it in a new direction and get it back to some of the glory that it once had.
Yeah, but as of right now, NOAA is no longer business-wise associated with New Japan. They're owned by a wholly independent company who has taken over their trademarks and championships and roster and everything. Everything that's currently scheduled will continue to go on unfazed.
And the one guy that seems to immediately affect would be Go Shiozaki.
He wants out because he did an interview with Tokyo Sports and was asked, "What do you see in your future?" And he said, "IWGP."
He's also being paid directly by Bushiroad and not by Pro Wrestling Noah.
Yeah, and then you've got the Suzuki-gun guys. Misu is a freelancer, but the other guys are contracted to New Japan.
Yeah.
And half of your GHC
coming back.
No, God, no. Don't mention him. No. You've got Yano, who is a New Japan guy, who's half of the GHC tag champions. You've got Jado, who's the booker, who is a New Japan guy. So even though Noah's saying, the new president of Noah is saying, well, we hope to continue to have a good relationship with New Japan. If Kadani decides to pull his guys out, then Noah's going to be in a world of fucking hurt.
Perhaps Noah needs to be in that world of fucking hurt to distance themselves from New Japan. It would just completely decimate their roster, but at the same time, if this new IT company has some money, they can go out to Japanese indies, they can go to United States indies, they can go to UK indies and raid talent from there to rebuild and replenish with guys that will take the roster and the company itself in a direction that is wholly different from what New Japan is doing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. We should get an idea in this junior tag match on Saturday morning at Power Struggle.
The 5th, yeah. It's like hopefully Noah will no longer be just New Japan light. It'd be nice to see them kind of carve out an identity for themselves once again.
And kind of get back to what they used to be, because they were a very prestigious, very, highly thought of company.
When Misawa broke off in the early 2000s from All Japan and just boldly created this new company, they shot right to the top.
Yeah, and then when Misawa died in the ring, they started really, really going downhill. That made everybody look at them differently, and it's kind of they haven't been able to recover from that fully. Even though you've had this amazing talent like Marufuji and Kenta and these guys that were just incredible, they couldn't really overcome that tragedy that happened live on television in the ring.
Yeah, that definitely hurt them, and I can see, that being one of the reasons that Marufuji would like to stay behind and kind of take over in that leadership role especially with the boys in the locker room. And you can't really replace or be the next Misawa, but he could certainly lead the company in a better direction.
Yeah. And hopefully, over the next 6 or 7 months, we'll be able to see exactly what they're planning to do and how they're planning to do it.
But yeah, they said that from what I've heard, they're honoring all of the dates that have already been booked. All those shows will continue to go on for Pro Wrestling Noah. What we'll be interested to see is if they add additional shows in that time frame. Before all the book shows are already out, will they add more cards, more shows here and there? And then what's going to happen after those booked events? Are they going to continue to book the way Noah has been doing, or will they try something different?
Yeah. But yes, let's see, really stupid o'clock on Saturday morning, we have Power Struggle. It looks like it's going to be a 4.5 hour card.
Oh, yeah, I've got the card up here. Oh, boy.
I do, yeah. It's going to be a long show. I mean, it's going to be a very long show. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 matches.
Yeah, the
Along
Super
with
Tag
the time
Tournament
bomb
final is going to be right in the middle of the card. That should tell you something.
Yeah. Oh,
10
lordy,
matches.
lordy.
Wow.
Yes, this card will be headlined by the IWGP Intercontinental Champion, Tetsuya Naito, defending against Jay Lethal. I don't really see Lethal getting that good of a reaction. Even though it is Osaka, I still don't see him getting a real good reaction.
Yeah, I don't see him getting a good reaction. I don't see him getting the title, but just for me, it's like I want to see him get in there and, just kind of have that attitude, like I don't care about the belt, Naito. What I care about is beating the crap out of you for betraying me, for kicking me out of Los Ingobernables, for turning your back on me, for turning on me. I just want to see Jay Lethal get in there and just be brutal.
Well, see, according to Naito in an interview he just did, he feels like Lethal betrayed them.
Well, there you go. You can have that from both sides.
Yeah.
How dare you
Naito
go,
feels
babyface? You're out.
We gave you, we inducted you in. We wanted you to represent us in Ring of Honor, and you never did. So, screw you.
That's one thing with New Japan. It's like they've got a wealth of heel factions, but like no babyface factions.
Well, who the hell are you going to put in a babyface faction?
Yoshitatsu and Captain. Oh, they tried that. It sucked.
Yeah, Bullet Club Hunters was not good. Some people, who I'm not going to name names, liked the T-shirt. But they were not good.
No, you could put Tanahashi in your good guy faction.
Oh, no, because Tanahashi's got to be the ace. Who's he going to lead? I mean, seriously. Shibata? No, Shibata is a lone wolf guy.
Elgin. Although he needs to go heel.
Elgin's out. Kushida.
I could see that. I could see the two of them teaming up.
I mean, when you really look at the pure face side, you've got Tana, Shibata, he's kind of iffy. You've got Kushida.
Liger.
You've got Yoshitatsu, Hanma, Makabe, Finlay, Tiger Mask, Liger, Juice, Kojima, and Tenzan.
Oh, come on. Those leopard panties are a heel move.
Well, we might think so, but everybody else seems to like them, Personally, I would not be caught dead running around like David Finlay with Prince written across my leopard panty covered ass, but it works for him.
Or so he thinks.
Yeah, I mean, there's really, you've got kind of the uncles who are a little bit of a faction, but Chaos, who
for all intents and purposes should be a face faction, but they started as a heel faction.
Yeah, and I don't think they ever really turn fully to face. At least not intentionally.
You've got guys like Yano. You've got Will Ospreay. You've got Yoshihashi. You've got these guys that just don't say heel to me at all.
But then you got Okada, who really needs to be an damn heel.
Yeah, he would be better full on heel, as would Tanahashi.
I say that because he needs to be like the Randy Orton in Evolution heel. The young guy, cocky, money, in a suit, just that cockiness, which right now is just obnoxiousness.
Yeah, you are not very, very high on Okada.
I'm high on Okada when he is not phoning it in. He doesn't have much of a personality. He doesn't have that much charisma. What charisma he does have comes from Gato a lot of the time. I don't know. He's lost a lot of shine for me, so.
He's kind of one of those guys, kind of like Naito too, where it depends on the town and it depends on the arena where he is, if he's got the crowd or not.
Yeah.
There's some places that'll just boo him out of the building just because Okada, and other places where because he's Okada, they love him and they cheer him and they throw the Okada bucks.
Yeah.
And wave the Okada towels. But yeah, we've got hopefully Mr. Stupid Hair and Stupid Air Guitar and Stupid Braids and Stupid Ponytail in the semi-main taking on Sonata. That should be a good one.
Mm-hmm. Because there'll be two people with stupid hair in that match.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that to Sonata's face.
Well, I would say it from across a busy highway.
Tanahashi.
There's a lot of traffic and I could run.
Tell him he's got stupid hair.
I'd go out there and just hit that ponytail. What the fuck are you thinking, man? Seriously. Sonata, give me a megaphone. I'll holler at him from across like an 8-lane highway.
Yeah, Jimmy Hart's got a few of those for sale on eBay, I think. Holler at Sonata. We've got Shibata taking on Evil. We've got Los Ingobernables in the last 3 matches there. So.
Yep, and they want all the belts.
Enjoy losing your head in this match, Evil. Your mascara is going to get kicked right off of your face.
I have to wonder, though, if Evil's not going to win, to give Shibata time to recover before Wrestle Kingdom. Because Shibata's still hurting.
He's hurting, but what other than the tag tournament is between now and Wrestle Kingdom?
Nothing. That's what I'm saying. Give him time to recover.
Put
him on the sidelines until.
What if he wins and then just doesn't wrestle in the tag tournament?
Well, still, you're going to have him to fill out the card.
Yeah, but you can put him on, 8-man and 10-man tag teams and utilize him very well.
But nobody wants to see Shibata do that because he doesn't get to kill enough people. We don't have the prolonged violence we're accustomed to with him.
I don't know. I just don't buy into Evil as a never open champion, especially defeating Katsuyori Shibata in terms of storyline and believability.
I see kind of 50-50. It's like a coin toss of who's going to win this one to me.
Yeah, maybe if there's some interference by Los Ingobernables, I can see Evil gaining the upper hand, but we've got some 10-man tags. We've got Bushi in singles action against Kushida for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. I don't see Bushi.
Do not play hot potato with that title again. Just keep it on Bushi.
Yeah, it does not need to go back to Kushida. That's kind of the TJ Perkins effect there. It's like Kushida had it for a while. He wasn't doing much with it. He was defending it, but there's just a charisma that I think Kushida lacks.
Yeah, Bushi is definitely more acceptable to me in the role right now than Kushi is.
He is, and it's also fun, and it's something that you don't see very often, but it's fun to have, a true heel junior heavyweight champion.
Yeah, because Bushi really doesn't have any redeeming qualities. Except for really, really good nail polish. And the mist, yes. And he's incredible in the ring. And
an entrance mask over his real mask.
And sometimes a mask over the mask that's over his real mask. Because he had on 3. He had on 3 on Sunday's show.
And sometimes a pretty awesome baseball jersey, too.
Yeah. I'm expecting a suit, though, on Saturday.
Yeah, we've got, like we were talking about earlier, we've got Beretta and Romero versus ACH and Taiji Ishimori. We'll see how that Noah versus New Japan feud continues to go. And yeah, we have the IWGP heavyweight tag titles on the line. We were talking about this earlier. Tomohiro Ishii teaming up with Yoshihashi, taking on the champions Tama Tonga and Tonga Roa. And please let Chaos win this, please.
Yes. I'm sorry, Tama and Tonga they don't do it for me.
I want to see very nice, stiff clotheslines from Ishii, taking off Tonga Roa's head, nail him with a brainbuster, and win those titles.
Yes, I like that idea. It sounds like a very good plan.
I don't mind Tama Tonga, but Tonga Roa is the drizzling shits.
Pretty much.
Not as bad as Bone Soldier, but yeah, like TJ Perkins. He's just kind of like room temperature milk.
What has happened to Fale? Have you noticed he hasn't been around?
Haven't seen him for a while.
That's like the merchandise picture that came out with Bullet Club for their new hoodies. No Fale.
Maybe he's getting things. When's that New Zealand show running?
Next weekend.
Okay, maybe he's preparing for that.
I don't even think he's on that card.
Really? That's his hometown. That's his peeps there.
Yeah, but I don't think he's on that card.
Is he now persona non grata?
It's next weekend. Let me see if I can find the card for that.
Maybe it's him in the Bone Soldier mask.
It's led by Fale, so I don't know. He might be on the card.
Yeah, I mean, he came up through the New Japan dojo. I don't see there being anything there. If I had to speculate, I'd say he's probably just getting things ready for that New Zealand show.
Bullet Club challenges Chaos in the main event. Announced matches. Let's see. Yeah, he's on there. He's teaming with the Sleaze against Gato and Yoshihashi.
Yay.
I just find it odd he's not been on the New Japan cards in a while.
No, he hasn't. But I mean, you kind of team Tama Tonga up with Tonga Roa, and Tama Tonga used to be the tag partner for Bad Luck Fale, so you need somebody new for him. And another Bullet Club guy that hasn't been around recently is Hangman Page.
Well, maybe they learned their lesson with that.
Probably.
It's not a real good idea to, a guy who had a broken neck to be constantly hung over the top rope and dangled, in these matches. One thing we haven't discussed, there's like 3 6-man and 8-man tags at the bottom of the card that have Bullet Club against Yoshitatsu and the Walking Leather Couch and Makabe.
Walking Leather Couch.
He's turning himself into he's tanning his hide.
He sure is.
He resembles leather more and more every day.
Beef jerky.
You have David Finlay, Ricochet, Tiger Mask, and Liger against Fuego, Titan, Angel Del Oro, and Taguchi, and Juice and the Crazy Uncles against the Ornery Uncles and Kane Mitsu.
Yeah, so there's...
And right after intermission, we are expecting a time bomb to go off.
Ah, that's what you'd wanted to talk about.
Yes, and there have been, guesses, everything from Suzuki-gun to just Misu, who made a comment earlier this week about a time bomb, that the last time bomb had been placed and set.
Do we know where Hector Guerrero is? Could it be the gobbledygooker?
Oh, God, I hope not. If we see a big-ass egg somewhere in the building, then we know just to turn it the fuck off and not even deal with it.
Are we still sure it's not the time splitters coming back from the future at 88 miles per hour to blow things up?
No, because Kushi's got a match.
All right, that's true.
We've heard everything from Suzuki-gun to Misu to a new young lion to Cody Rhodes to Ryback. And it's just, it's all weird, and I have no clue at this point who the fuck it's going to be.
I like the theory that you put out there where you said, you didn't know what the time bomb initially was going to be, but with what's going on in Pro Wrestling Noah now, that it made a lot of sense for the time bomb to be the Suzuki guy. Goon guy is coming back to New Japan.
Yeah.
I think that would be what makes the most sense, but in the latest little vignette they showed on Sunday's show, it was an American flag, a Canadian flag, Japanese flag, a baby. It's like you try to put all these pieces together. It's like, what the hell is this?
It's like that video from The Ring.
Well, at least with New Japan, a mystery like this is an actual mystery, and we can't figure it out. That's kind of better.
Yeah, because even if somebody figured it out in Tokyo and they put spoilers in Tokyo Sports, between Google Translate and Bing Translate, they'd end up getting it messed up, and we still wouldn't know.
Right.
Gotta love how Google translates Gato into heresy.
Well, there are times that makes sense.
The way he books, yeah, that Super J Cup, that certainly comes into play.
Kind of thought
Sometimes
heresy was sense. I thought heresy was what Abby said when she sees Tana's braids. Stupid hair I see.
Oh.
Poor Tana. He needs to shave his head and start over again.
Bald Tana, that would be amusing.
That would be hilarious. I would love it. I would cackle.
I wonder how much he'd look like an ornery uncle with a bald head.
I don't know. We need to go back and find him as a young lion when they all get their heads shaved at the dojo.
True. There's got to be photos of that.
There has got to be young lion Tanahashi out there with no hair.
I want to see that now. You've sold me. I got to see a picture of it.
I know. I'm going to have to hunt it up now. I don't know. I'm interested in seeing what the time bomb is, and hopefully, unlike some surprises in wrestling, it will not be a big disappointment. It'll actually be something interesting and new, and it's that big-ass young lion that Nagata's so high on. I can't remember what his name is. O'Hara. I can't remember. The one that was doing, exhibition matches on Lionsgate.
Yeah, I think I know who you mean, but I'm not sure either.
I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but hopefully it's somebody either coming back that, has been missing for a while or something completely out of left field.
Just not Ryback. That's out of all the theories you espoused, that is the one I don't want.
Nobody wants Ryback.
That really would be a time bomb.
It'd be a bomb. That would be for sure.
A big bomb. It's like every other day now you see stories about the shit he's saying on his podcast. It's like, dude, what the hell are you smoking? Because I can't believe that half of what he says is even remotely close to the truth.
There was something wacky he said about CM Punk the other day. I'm going to try to find it now that you bring this up, because
that he was lazy and didn't put in any effort in their matches.
yeah, that was it. Yeah, and I'm like, exactly your reaction a moment ago. I was like, what the fuck were you smoking, Ryback? Because at CM Punk, I could say many different things about the man, but lazy is not one of them.
No. And that's like the whole Vince, we had this great idea of sending me away for 6 months to train MMA and then come back and challenge Brock Lesnar and sell out WrestleMania. Huh?
The thing I've noticed, and I think almost it's a wrestling trait and sometimes admirable as such, but it's this delusion that he's more important than he really is, that he thinks he would have been in all these main events and all these great angles and done all these great things, but they never let me have the chance. I mean, you've got to believe in yourself to be a pro wrestler, but at the same time, when does reality step in and say, I'm not as big a deal as I think I am?
Well, that's like, how many independent shows has he been on since he left WWE? Because I've only seen one.
I don't think anybody can pay his price. I think he's priced himself out of the market.
And that, to me, is just him having delusions of grandeur.
If he was charging...
Once again, going back to, you're bigger than you think you are.
Right. If he was charging like $1,000, $2,000 a show, that'd still be high for an indie show, but he'd get a lot more bookings than he does.
I mean, honestly, I think he's been on one show since he's been gone. It's like, dude, Cody Rhodes is on a show every fucking week, sometimes 2 in the same day.
Wasn't it one of those Northeast wrestling shows? Wasn't that what he was on? Or maybe Maryland Championship, one or the other?
I think it was Maryland.
Yeah, that sounds right.
But it's like, oh, well, and talking about that, what's his price, like $5,000 or $6,000?
It's up there. It's like double, triple most of what indie guys charge.
He's like, oh, well, you don't understand. With me, you get autograph signings, and, I'm there from the beginning until the end, and, so are the other guys.
So are the guys who are making $100 to take a little hot dog break behind a concession stand, because that's all they're getting bonused. Yeah,
and it's like, nobody really likes you that much, Ryback.
I don't even hate the guy. I don't want to come off like this is shit on Ryback hour or anything. I don't have any personal animosity toward him other than he thinks he's more important than he is.
Yeah, and it's just like every week he gets more and more out there with the things he says.
Kind of like Ric Flair. It's this whole thing of guys getting on their own podcast. I sense a trend here.
I don't know. Flair, I think, is just, I don't know with Flair. To me, it's just sad. Because when I grew up, Flair was the man. He and Dusty Rhodes, those were the two, and Flair has just become a parody of himself.
Honestly, even I'd say through the 2000s, because I'm going to count Evolution in this, Ric Flair was still the man. There was a good run for him.
Yeah, but then if Flair had retired after that match with Shawn Michaels, I think things would have been a whole lot different.
Mm-hmm. But going to TNA, the failed TNA run was no good, and things since he came back have been what they've been. And
it's just...
Again, I don't want this to turn into the shit on Ric Flair hour either, but he kind of creates his own messes with his multiple failed marriages. He'll admit that himself, and his bar tabs that other people are supposed to pick up for him, which he freely admits. I mean, here's the difference between him and Ryback. At least Flair will freely admit he's fucked things up. Even though he's living in a land of delusion in some respects, he's also capable of admitting he's gotten some things wrong.
Mm-hmm. Ryback was just wronged by everyone.
Yeah, nothing Ryback ever did was a mistake. Ryback never failed to get over. It was always other people out to get him.
Exactly. He was a victim of everyone else. Always someone else's fault.
The one thing that absolutely falls apart to me with his argument in that respect is that he is the prototypical Vince McMahon guy. When Jason made his unfortunate reference about the Kleenex and the baby oil, Ryback was the guy I was
Bring it up one more time when I had just gotten it out of my damn head.
I'm sorry, but that is the kind of guy Vince McMahon likes. He takes one look at Ryback and he's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's like Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin and
Right, he just likes big dudes. Whatever that says about his psyche, you interpret that the way you
I don't want to even put a little toe into the well that is, Vince McMahon's psyche.
And
I'm pretty sure that I would contract all kinds of nasty diseases from that.
But lest anybody misunderstand me, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with guys liking guys. I'm just saying Vince McMahon likes what he likes.
And Vince McMahon, if the stories are to be believed, likes some kinky ass shit.
Well, that gets us all the way back around to a previous episode of the show where we brought up that Angel Fire list of wrestling rumors. We could go down that well if you want.
No, we don't need to go back to that again because some of that was just disturbing.
It was. But before we go down that well, maybe we should just wrap it up for this week and get back to whatever we got going on the rest of our days and get back to this 7 days from now. So, what do you have to plug, Abby?
Top Rope Press, since I'm doing like most of the writing these days, so I don't know where anybody else is. You can find me there, and you can find a lot of me there. In fact, earlier this week, I posted my 995th published piece there.
You're
Knowing
pretty
my
much
luck.
so busy there that we can't even book you on Angry Marks. You're always writing for them.
Yeah, I'm trying to come up with something good to write for my 1,000th piece there, and knowing my luck, it'll be somebody else suing TNA. And I will just be pissed off at the world. But yeah, Angry Marks, New Japan World, best 999 yen you can spend. They charged my credit card, I think. Monday, it was $9.65.
That sounds right, because I just did the math, and it's $9.69.
And you can find me on Twitter at Abby A. I am always around being snarky, which people tend to forget sometimes. 98% of what I say on there is very snarky and very sarcastic.
But that's fine by me, because that's one of the reasons I enjoy and like so many of your tweets. So, Jason, what do you have to plug?
Oh, let's start with Twitter. I'll plug Abby first at Abby A. If you want to find out what's going on with TNA news, she is on top of that. Her Top Rope Press articles. She'll tweet there. They'll be the first ones you find. You can find me on Twitter at Great Sudoku. Shout out to at Barbarnario on Twitter too, Barbaro Cavernario from CMLL, who actually replied in English to my tweet about him being in Fantasticamania in January. So big shout out there. Of course, New Japan World. My cooking blog, veggiebending.wordpress.com and AngryMarks.com.